House of the Dragon was a pleasant surprise for fans and exceeded expectations from the first episode. The show ended a few weeks ago, but everybody's still talking about it because we can't get enough of it. Recently, HBO released a bunch of scenes that never made it to the final cut, and that's exactly what we're talking about in this video. Let's get into it. First up is the death of Daeron Targaryen. House of the Dragon knocked it out of the park with its first episode, giving the viewers a very good idea of what to expect from the season. As soon as we entered Westeros, after the end of Game of Thrones, we were reminded that nothing happened in this world without violence and blood, as King Viserys decided to let his beloved wife die in childbirth in an attempt to save his son. It doesn't work, as Prince Balon doesn't outlive his mother for too long, but we didn't know this until we saw a baby's body next to Aemma's funeral pyre, and the scene was gut-wrenching, but originally it was even more emotional. Paddy Considine revealed that what they shot was 10 times more devastating. The actor mentioned that he shot a scene where Viserys is sitting on a bloody bed after Aemma's death, and one of the maesters comes to tell him that his son didn't make it. We're not sure we would have been able to handle the devastation, but we still feel robbed of a great scene. We're sure Considine nailed it. Next up, Daemon and the Song of Ice and Fire. One of the show's most shocking moments came in the finale, when the rogue prince strangles Princess Rhaenyra after he finds out Viserys never told him the infamous prophecy. But this deleted scene shows that he almost did. Considine shared that he and Matt Smith had a scene where the king tried to tell his brother about the Song of Ice and Fire, but decided against it when he saw that Daemon was too impulsive to understand its importance. But the 49-year-old actor said that it never felt right. The prince would never have connected to that. He wasn't into dreams or anything like that. We're happy if Paddy says it didn't make sense, but we can't help but think that it would have made that final clash between Daemon and Rhaenyra much more meaningful, right? Following this, a difficult talk between Rhaenyra and Alicent. We all audibly gasped after Viserys announced he was marrying Alicent, didn't we? But no one was more baffled and hurt than his daughter, and rightly so. Not only did the princess lose her mother and brother because of her father's decisions, but also her best friend in the entire world because he decided he wanted to marry her. After that, we see all of them a couple of years later as the show jumped forward in time, but they shot a couple of scenes that didn't make the final cut. One leaked photo showed Rhaenyra helping Alicent put on her wedding dress, and we're so mad we didn't get to watch this on the show. We're getting goosebumps thinking about how awkward, hurtful, and hard that must have been for the girls. We want this right now. There was another scene with a fight between the two as well, right after the announcement. That's simply brutal if you ask us. It would have added so much to their relationship. Moving on, Daemon's final toast to Viserys. Everybody's favorite moment from the first season was when the king stumbled into the room to support his daughter and sat on the Iron Throne one last time, right? It was such a heartwarming and strong scene. Even better when Matt Smith improvised picking up his brother's crown and placing it on his head. We also can't believe that such an epic moment was an accident, but it was so good that it changed something later in the episode when the entire royal family was having a wholesome dinner. Originally, the rogue prince was supposed to give a heartfelt toast to his brother, one that showed that he truly loved Viserys and cared for him with all his heart. But the creators felt that it wasn't needed after what happened earlier, since it perfectly captured their relationship and what it meant to Daemon. We completely get this one. We wouldn't change a thing about episode 8. Not to mention Daemon comforting his daughters. We're starting to think HBO cut everything with the rogue prince, and we don't get it. After Laena Valerian's tragic death, we saw her husband and their 2 daughters stunned on a rooftop, separate, quiet, and in mourning. But that wasn't all that was shot. Leaked images show that Daemon comforts Baela and Rhaena, hugging them while they cry and holding them super close. For starters, that would have ended all the he's a bad father nonsense, so it doesn't make sense why the network decided to leave this out. Coming up, Baela takes a stand. We're still mad that we didn't see more of Baela and Rhaena in the first season, especially considering how important they were in the book, and this makes it worse. In the last episode, there was a scene where the older sister speaks out after Rhaenys talks about wanting to protect her granddaughters. Baela interrupts and proclaims that she is a dragon rider like her mother and father, and she isn't going to run away from this war. Director Greg Yaitanes even stated that the performances in this scene were fantastic, and he would have loved to keep it in the finale. Well, why didn't you, Greg? Should we start a petition asking HBO to release the deleted scenes? Lastly, Daemon finds out about Lucerys' death.
Wake up! No! No!
We're sure we don't need to remind anybody what happened to the young prince, but it was bloody, devastating, and shocking. At the very end of the episode, we see the rogue prince go to Rhaenyra and tell her about Luke's death, and we know that war is coming from her reaction. But how did Daemon find out? We would have seen it, but it was cut from the finale. There is a moment where the prince is informed of Lucerys' death, and he takes the time to process it before going to his wife. It was Matt Smith's idea to take her away from the table and tell her by the fireplace. It's time Matt gets writing credits on these episodes, folks. But again, this would have been a super heartbreaking scene to watch. We were robbed. Now let's talk about 5 predictions for Season 2 of House of the Dragon. First, blood and cheese. Even though Season 1 showed that Aemon didn't mean to kill Luke, the damage is done, and there will be consequences. Brutal ones. Blood and cheese were Daemon's ordered assassins in Fire and Blood, and he gets in contact with him to avenge Lucerys. Fans expect to see blood and cheese go after King Aegon's kids. And eye for an eye. So Episode 1, Season 2, let's go! Up next, Winterfell. At the end of the first season, we see Jacaerys headed towards Vale and Winterfell to get the support of House Arryn and Stark. So fans should get excited to see House Stark and the North in Season 2, something we didn't get in the first 10 episodes. We'll be introduced to Cregan Stark, the Lord of Winterfell. It might also lead to a pact between the houses Stark and Targaryen, so be ready for some very exciting times. Following this, the Battle of the Burning Mill. In the book, one of the first major battles happens between houses Blackwood and Bracken, with Blackwood fighting for the Blacks while Bracken sides with the Greens. As the Greens get their first major loss at the hands of Rhaenyra's side, this war should show everybody that peace will never be a choice again. Violence and chaos will be the way forward, and this should be a super exciting way to start the new season, as it symbolizes everything that's coming for both sides. What's more, the new Hand of the King. After their loss in the Battle of the Burning Mill, Otto Hightower is removed as Hand of the King, as Aegon blames him for what's happened, and Criston Cole takes his place. We're not big fans of the guy either, but he's definitely on Queen Alicent's right side, and he's not expected to go anywhere in Season 2 either. So get ready for a whole lot of Cole. Finally, the death of Rhaenys Targaryen. You'd be lying if you said Rhaenys wasn't one of your favorites in the first season. She was iconic from the second she showed up, but we have bad news. There's a high chance that there won't be much of her in Season 2. At the end of Season 1, she was headed towards Rook's Rest to guard it for the Blacks. But it won't be long till the Greens come for it. Imagine a battle with Rhaenys and Meleys against Aegon, Aemond, Sunfire, and Vahagar. It won't end well for the queen who never was, but we hope we're wrong. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you want to see in House of the Dragon Season 2? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.